It may surprise you to learn that the Enterprise was not the first Galaxy Class Starship, nor was its sister ship the USS Yamato. The first Galaxy Starship, which was actually called the USS Galaxy, and it was christened as NCC 70637, was commissioned and put into service in 2357, while the USS Enterprise D is the most famous starship, and they used the Enterprise because of its history and the legacy that that name is attached to. The USS Galaxy inaugurated the class in 2350, excuse me, following the development that began in 2343. The prototype launched in 2357. Initial service mid to late 2350s. Enterprise D was launched in 2363. Now, this is following a Google search. This is what I came up with in Google. The Galaxy Class Starship is huge. It's an incredible piece of technology in the Star Trek universe, but at the same time, in my opinion, one of the main reasons for it being built was a big mistake. The ability of transporting your families across the galaxy with you instead of leaving them on a planet somewhere on a starbase has to be one of the worst decisions in the history of shipbuilding that I have ever seen. How many times have we witnessed the USS Enterprise under attack, getting damaged, or other starships out there getting completely wiped out? Family members on board them dying unnecessarily. Space is a dangerous place to play around with, and the fact that you're bringing your family out there just so you can be close to them, I don't know, that just sounds a little wrong to me. In the second season, episode 11, Contagion, on Star Trek The Next Generation, the Yamato is infected by an Iconian probe. The Iconian probe is rewriting the ship's programming. The question that I have about the captain here is why in the hell he couldn't figure out that after the Iconian probe scanned the ship and the ship started falling apart, he couldn't figure out that putting the two of them together, the probe scanned our ship and then the ship starts falling apart. No, he starts blaming it on the technology and on the fact whether the Starbase engineers put a ship together that was flawed. That's just very surprising to me that he couldn't put all that together.
Captain, magnetic seals in the antimatter chamber are decaying. Captain! Donald, come in! Shields up.
Over 1,000 people, men, women, children, families, are now dead. And the question needs to be asked here is it right? Is it necessary for you to put your families in such a risk, bringing them out into space like this? And I know right before we get carried away with ourselves, it's a TV show, and it's just science fiction, and I'm overanalyzing it. No, I don't think I'm overanalyzing. I think these are fair questions to ask. Even writers have to ask these type of questions. Would you put your family out there in such harm and such risk when they could be safe away from this danger? Yeah, your family's away from you and you'll be missing them, but they'd be alive. You wouldn't have to worry about the possibility of them being killed. When it comes to families on starships, you're putting yourself and them at incredible risk. Look at this weak episode from the first season when the bow breaks. The Enterprise is lured or tricked into coming to this one area of space where this planet Aldea apparently is having a problem. They want children. Apparently, the energy field that cloaks their planet was sterilizing them at the same time. So they decided to kidnap children from the Enterprise. Not just any children, the ones with the high intellect that they could use to mold them into, I guess, the next generation of Aldeans.
We need some of your children. In payment, we will give you information that would take you centuries to acquire.
That might be acceptable to some other races, but humans are unusually attached to their offspring.
Our children are not for sale at any price.
Captain, saucer section reports 6 more children are gone.
It's the children. That's why we've been brought here. That's what they wanted, and that's what they have.
When the Bow Breaks is definitely one of the weakest episodes from Star Trek The Next Generation, but it still brings about a very good point. Is it a very good idea to bring your families along on these deep space explorations when you can encounter anyone who can come along and try and kidnap your children? Okay, so we've already talked a little bit about families aboard the Galaxy Class Starships. Now let's take a look at the Galaxy Class ships themselves, because honestly, I really think these ships are not practical.
Captain, the Enterprise computer system is a lot like our own bodies, with voluntary and involuntary systems. Now, probably 90% of what goes on in this ship is done automatically, completely out of our control. We're sitting on a bomb that could go off any second, or maybe never.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think this ship is a beautiful design, but on the other hand, I think they spent more time worrying about the luxuries aboard this vessel rather than toughening up its hull and making sure that its computer components, the major parts of the ship, were protected from any alien influences or any outside influences.
Captain's log, stardate 47869.2. After weathering an unexpected magnascopic storm in the Macorda sector, we are continuing our search for new Federation colony sites.
Survey region. Have stellar cartography begin up. Mr. Data, report.
The ship has moved into warp, sir.
Who gave that command?
Apparently no one. Helm and navigation controls are not functioning. Our speed is now warp 7.3 and holding.
Have you found anything yet?
Only that we seem to have more than one mystery here. We still don't know why the ship jumped into warp, but it looks like we're lucky that it did. There was a theta flux distortion building up around the ship.
Why didn't our sensors alert us?
Well, our sensors were never designed to detect theta flux distortions, and yet there is a record of the distortion in our sensor log.
I believe the Enterprise may be forming an intelligence.
So as I said just a few moments ago, Starfleet, or the people who built the ship, were too busy making it look luxurious and giving it all these fancy things, and at the same time giving it an incredible computer system. But I don't honestly think they did anything to protect the ship from outside sources affecting it. Like when a theta fluctuation during a storm comes along and gives the Enterprise the ability to develop a neural network, which also gives it the ability to create life. Okay, so I said at the beginning of the... Okay, so I said a little while ago that when they were building this ship, they did all the fancy things to it. They gave it a nice, luxurious style. The crew quarters are amazing. The ship has so many rec areas and a fancy computer system. But they honestly did nothing to protect the hull from things such as a storm that the Enterprise may pass through, causing a theta fluctuation, which allows the Enterprise's computer system to develop a neural network, basically making it a sentient being and allowing it the ability to create life. When it comes to design flaws, the Galaxy Class Starship is definitely not designed for combat. It is a luxury vessel and scientific vessel only.
All hands abandon ship! Repeat! All hands abandon!
In the episode Cause and Effect, the Enterprise is continuously repeating the same tragic events for 17 days. The USS Bozeman appears in front of them and smashes into one of their nacelles, causing catastrophic damage. They're unable to eject the core, unable to get out of the way, and it eventually causes the ship to blow up. Time and time again, they repeat it. It's a good episode, but the question that needs to be asked here is it possible that this ship, again, as I stated before, is it possible that they overloaded this ship with all the technology, all of the luxuries, and really didn't give it a good design, a good outer structure to handle such events that may have happened? Now compare that scene to the Wrath of Khan. We have one of the Reliance nacelles being hit by phaser fire, And you don't see the warp core exploding. You see the engine room taking catastrophic damage, but you do not see the ship blowing up. The Reliant is over 80 years old compared to the Enterprise, and it took the hits way better than the Enterprise did when the Bozeman slammed into its nacelle. Is the Galaxy Class Starship a bad design, and is the whole concept behind it a terrible idea? Families on board the ship's facing unknown alien encounters, diseases, uh, all sorts of anomalies, children getting abducted, children getting killed. These people need to be on star bases or on Earth, not aboard starships where life and death happens at any moment. And as for the ship itself, it is quite clear that this ship does not have good safety guards to protect it from elements that can make the ship come to life, or uh, nacelle problems being slammed by other ships. Again, Reliant is a clear example of overdevelopment. The Reliant took the hits very well from a phaser fire. The ship didn't explode. The warp core didn't explode. Meanwhile, on the Enterprise, the nacelle gets hit by another starship, and the ship suffers catastrophic failure. Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments, so please drop them below and let me know. Until the next time, my friends, God bless.